Africans read?
Sorry?
Do Africans read?
The regulators are always playing catch up because the products are so innovative, and for the regulators to even get into it and understand it, the companies that are building these products need to be transparent.
Yeah.
But of course, sometimes they're building products that, the regulators may not like, and it will come with punitive repercussions. So it is difficult and it's tricky, but I think once the regulators get to the point where they are able to license people, they will also issue a list of registered companies which have gone through rigorous due diligence. So then, the public at large can trust that those firms are compliant and safe to use.
Hi, and welcome once again to the Africa Discussion Channel, where we bring you the impact voices that are transforming Africa's industries one at a time. Now, we're going to delve into conversation regarding market adoption, trust, and safety within the digital asset space. Again, this is coming to you on the bylines of the Digital Asset Summit Africa, and joining me now to unpack the human side and help navigate the human side of fintech adoption, where trust meets technology, is Mimi Kufuor. Got the name right?
Yes, you did.
Thank you very much, Mimi, for joining us. Trust, they say, is a currency of adoption. So basically, when people trust something, they go all in. And as digital assets begin to reach underserved users, how do we ensure safety? How do we ensure transparency and protection of the underserved users? So Mimi is going to help us navigate this. Hi, Mimi.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Could you maybe give us a brief background about yourself, what you do, and how you found yourself in this space?
Absolutely. So my name is Mimi Kufuor. I'm the CEO and country manager of KoinKoin Ghana Limited.
KoinKoin.
KoinKoin, yes.
I'm interested in the name.
KoinKoin. Well, sort of dates back to, so the founder and global CEO, he's Nigerian.
Okay.
And I believe there's a story of a Madam KoinKoin back in the day.
In the campuses, I think.
Yes, exactly. But it's just a play on the word coin. So instead of C, you have the K.
Okay.
And I guess that, from an African perspective resonates with everyone, and even more so from a digital assets perspective, because everything is tokenized as in a form of a coin.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a play on that Madam KoinKoin story and just coins in general.
Oh, so, awesome.
Yeah.
How did you find your space in the digital asset space, or how did you find yourself within this ecosystem?
So maybe taking it way back, I studied financial economics. So I've always been interested in finance, found myself in investment banking for a number of years, maybe over 10, 15 years, mainly in risk. And then kind of leapfrogged into working at Meta for a couple of years. So I did a stint there. And then I was approached by the founder to join and sort of manage the global operations.
Meta?
I know.
Curious. What's the story behind it?
Shock, horror. I think, you get to a point in your career where, there's only so much further you can go. And when you're part of a big organization, you often get lost and your voice isn't heard. And I really wanted to make an impact. Obviously, I'm of African descent. So it was important to me to at least join a startup that was focused on Africa and then having an impact on Africa. I mean, I'm Ghanaian. So, it made sense for me to sort of come on board and complement the company structure, being a woman and also being Ghanaian. The founder's Nigerian. So it was kind of like a divide and conquer strategy situation.
How does that transformation look like coming back home?
It's easy.
Building solutions that actually matter for Africans.
I think for me, I'm Ghanaian. I speak the local language. I speak Tree. My parents are Ghanaian. I grew up in Ghana, partly. So I'm very localized as well as, having international experience. So I understand the culture. I appreciate the nuances, the level of respect that people give certain things here. So I think for me, it's easy to translate some of the international some of the things we do internationally into sort of local language and sort of the local mindset.
Context.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
for our users.
Yeah, so that really puts me at that advantage, I think, I would say.
Thank you so much. I think your background really sets the foundation for helping us really understand not only the risk element in terms of security and trust for onboarding new users into this space. Apart from that, it also gives very, very much introspection into women, I mean, transitioning and coming back home and building solutions. Now women can be onboarded. So I'm just going to begin on digital assets, right?
Sure.
In perspective, what is digital assets, right? How can you explain this to maybe a woman in Marcola and she can understand that?
So I would say to the layman, a digital asset is something that's, I guess it's the conversion of something physical into something digital. So when we're thinking of digital assets, we have to, I guess, almost peel it back and look at what foundations underpin digital assets, which would then take you to sort of decentralized finance or systems, and then the blockchain, which is basically just like it's like an open ledger. If I should describe it, it's like
an open ledger in this sense would be, for instance, for the Marcola woman, she has a book where she writes.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly like when you back in the day.
Digitized.
Yes. So back in the day when you had the susu groups and everyone writes, this is how much I owe, this is how much I've paid into a notebook. Everyone sees it. It's transparent. It's with the blockchain. It's immutable, so it's it can't be reversed.
Destroyed, yeah.
Yes. So this is really the underpinnings of the trust within the blockchain. No one can erase it. Someone can't go back tomorrow and say, "Oh, actually, I made a mistake. It should have been this. It should have been that."
Right.
So yeah, it's basically the concept of having a notebook that everyone writes, kind of their money or what they owe into, and everyone is able to see it, so it's transparent.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that. I think that actually spells it out very much well for a user of African descent who really doesn't understand that. But I want to tap technically into the story of KoinKoin.
Sure.
What does KoinKoin do?
So KoinKoin is a digital assets exchange platform.
So transacts?
Yes, so you can transact, you can buy and sell all the top crypto coins, digital assets in general, so tokens, anything that can be digitally sold. I guess as a point of reference for those who are a bit more familiar, it will be similar to the likes of Binance, Coinbase, KuFoor,
right?
Those exchanges.
Yeah.
I won't mention FTX because it failed, but if anyone's familiar with the story, it's basically an exchange where you can buy and sell coins and also trade futures.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So in your experience, right, are there a lot of Africans on board in digital asset space? A lot of people transacting via digital assets?
Yes, absolutely. I think there's a huge demand, just given the fact that across the continent, there are over 50-something currencies. So that's prohibitive for trade in general. But I think Africa has a, sort of FX fluctuation issue, and
economic stability as well.
Yes, exactly. And there, inflation is sticky, and there's a whole heap of sort of financial issues or currency issues which we need to hedge against. And I think for us, stablecoin really is, I want to say, the savior, because it's low cost, it's efficient, it settles within, minutes or hours as opposed to days or weeks. So for Africa, I think from a usage perspective, stablecoins have been at the forefront. I mean, from an adoption perspective, I believe Nigeria is the second largest adopters of crypto globally after India. After India, yeah. Wow. So I don't know if that's changed actually.
It's first five?
Well, in terms of adoption.
Yeah.
In terms of adoption globally. I'm not sure if that figure has changed. It may have changed now. But I mean, even still, Nigeria is a big player in that space.
Even with the regulation issues they've had?
Yes. The sheer size of it, the population of 250 million. The Naira is, not the most stable currency. People need ways and means quickly and efficiently to pay suppliers, to transact, to just, hedge against various fluctuations. So It absolutely makes sense. And Yeah.
What can you say about the trust gap with the digital asset space?
I think there are trust issues, but I do think there are ways to combat that and to kind of circumvent all of those trust issues. From our perspective, as part of our platform, we will be using Lloyds of London insurance to kind of mitigate any losses or anything like that that may happen on the exchange.
Yeah.
From a retail user perspective and from an institutional business to business perspective as well. Users can purchase that insurance, but we ourselves as an exchange will be purchasing that insurance to obviously safeguard the exchange and the platform from, cyber attacks, any sort of security breaches, anything that may happen, so that the platform's safe and it doesn't disappear overnight, as some people have seen happen.
We already have out there.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the insurance is expensive, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it's what's really going to be the cornerstone of building that trust. Yeah. So people know and understand that, okay, even if things were to go wrong, then, there is that safeguard.
So this is a case study of your organization, what you guys have done to enable trust within your users.
Yes. I mean, we're not operational at the moment, but that is the intention to have that onboarded.
What are the alternatives in terms of building that trust within the ecosystem? What are the solutions that you can prefer?
I think having very tight security infrastructure and systems, obviously having a head of IT, a whole team of people who can obviously ensure that there is that security there. I think it's basically just making sure you're adhering to the regulations, which are meant to be, guardrails for any exchange or any sort of digital assets company out there. But, the regulators have set certain compliance targets and, you have to update your policies and things like that. But I think more importantly, education would be key to kind of educating the layman, the common folk about what a digital asset actually is.
Yeah.
And how it functions and the role they also need to play in safeguarding themselves. I mean, there's only so much you can do as an exchange or as a company to safeguard the users, but the users also need to be savvy and they need to understand what they're investing their money in. And that's typical of any financial market. If you're trading stocks and, you need to understand the implications and, the fact that you could lose all your money. So I think there is. Yeah, you could. Yeah, I mean, if the market turns, there will be market fluctuations. And, the likes of Bitcoin and Ethereum are very risk-on assets. So they move when the market moves. When there's a fluctuation, Bitcoin goes down. If there's a macroeconomic policy, it affects Bitcoin, Ethereum. They all interact and effectively are impacted.
So they interact just like regular currencies, but
they
have a bit of more stability.
I would say stablecoins are a bit more stable because they are obviously backed one-to-one by fiat. Okay. But when you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the other coins, they're very much risk-on assets where if the market moves, fluctuates, they will follow suit, which is why a lot of that sort of geopolitical climate and shifts, affects Bitcoin. I would say Bitcoin is probably more of a long-term scarcity hedge, just given the fact that there's a limited amount of Bitcoin. I think it's 21 million in supply, and no one else can print or, add to that. But for like an everyday hedge, I think stablecoins are more that kind of everyday hedge, and it's stable because it's backed by actual fiat.
Right. You spoke about education.
Yes.
I'm just thinking to myself, what kind of programs might help demystify digital asset education or financial digital finance education for underserved communities?
I think we would have to start at the grassroots. So, I think what's key, especially in the Ghanaian community, is having ambassadors that people know and trust, and obviously making sure you have programs in the local languages. So if you're sort of targeting, let's say, the Upper West region, you'd find someone local there who, you've trained and understands how your exchange works and how, the digital asset space works. And, they will be able to go out and explain to, individuals or hold kind of info sessions. I think even just having a simple cheat sheet for those who, I guess, who are literate, who can read and understand, sort of giving out things like that, but just basic explanation to people. I think you'd have to get a lot of ambassadors on ground to really go around educating the underserved, because they generally tend to be probably not the most educated, but I wouldn't say that prohibits them from participating at all, because if you look at Momo, I mean...
Yeah, Momo has been a significant...
Yeah, Momo, people who don't speak English or maybe they haven't had the highest form of education can still transact using Momo, and they understand it and they trust it. And I think simplifying at least in our case, simplifying your exchanges and where they will be transacting on, so that the user interface is very simplistic, it's easy to understand, it's intuitive. I think that's really a quick win. And then for your more advanced users, you can have a pro version of the exchange,
same exchange,
which people can then use. You can even compare it to like Uber X or Uber Black, where you have your basic Ubers and then you have your more fancy executive cars. So it's kind of the concept will be similar to that kind of model.
Built for a user-specific niche.
Yes, I would say that. I think,
Wouldn't that cost the organizations a lot more?
Yes, it is pricey.
It would help adoption.
Yes, but it will accelerate adoption without a doubt. I mean, you need to make it easy. You need to make it quick. You need to make it efficient, so it's not confusing. And even for me, as a sort of being part of an organization that operates an exchange, I need to educate myself when I go onto different exchange apps. Every app is different. Every user interface is also different. Some of them more complex than others, but it's sort of navigating your way around it. And I think if you can put together user guides, tutorials for people.
Do Africans read? Do Africans read?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess this is what I'm saying.
You have to trust that they will read.
If it's basic numbers, with Momo, you have to type in and, punch in numbers at a basic level.
I think let's just stay on that. So just expound a little bit on the communication tactics that could help convert skeptic users into active users. Right? You're just speaking about the Momo. MTN had to do quite a lot of adverts regarding Momo, *170, with big...
Yeah. And I think sort of like the Momo agents were probably key in advising people how to use it and, explaining to them how it works and the functionalities. And I think it'll be similar. There'll have to be a lot of like roadshows, sort of even going onto campuses for the students. But yeah, just getting into the grassroots and having ambassadors who can really push the app in a very simplistic, easy to understand way in the local languages, so people can kind of understand it, doing demos, getting people to kind of download the app, play around with it as well. But yeah, I think with any exchange, a lot of the money that you will spend will be on marketing, and trying to make or allow people to understand what you're offering, the perks. For your more advanced users, of course, there'll be, funky stuff like AI games, there'll be cash outs, there'll be prizes, things like that for the more astute and savvy users. But I think from a very basic level, you can have a very basic version of your app where it's a very simplistic buy and sell situation, and you have your wallet and it's very easy to understand. And then you have a more pro version that can sort of entice the more adventurous adventurous users.
You out there, Mimi has just shared key strategies that would help you convert your skeptics into active users. Thank you for that. I think that's a win for the community of users.
Yes, right? No, definitely.
I want to talk to you now about inclusion within the static space and the Web3 space, right? Let's focus that a lot on women participation. Do you see a lot of women participation in terms of inclusion within the Web3 space, within the digital asset space?
I think generally, from an overall perspective, just across every industry, women are underrepresented, especially across more sort of STEM positions. traditionally, or historically, should I say. But I think that's changing. I think the dial is moving on that. I think in terms of Africa specifically, and Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, we're all sort of hubs, innovation hubs and big fintech hubs. And I think that's definitely changing. There are a lot of female founders, co-founders who've, started, a whole host of either financial investing apps, pension fund apps, so there is a big movement there. But I think there's a lot more that can be done in the space. There are a lot of VCs that support women-owned or women-led startups or companies as well, which is good. But I think more can definitely be done in that space. It's still hugely male dominant, but I think from my perspective, there are it's getting better, but I don't think we're fully there yet.
Is it because we don't hear the stories of the women? I mean, can you tell us a story about women Web3? We don't hear about their stories. I mean, you're a good example.
There's
enough your stories.
I think there are a lot of women out there who do share their stories. I'm active on LinkedIn, and there are a lot of stories I see women sharing and celebrating, and I think it's great. But I do think with the sort of acceleration of digital assets, there will naturally be more women at the forefront. And I think it's down also to the startups and the companies to hire and put women at the forefront. So, make sure that they have a diversity. I mean, obviously at KoinKoin, I'm part of, the C-suite executives and the CEOs.
Definitely are going to influence policy to make sure that
yeah, but I think it's important to have that diversity and have, those different perspectives, right. Especially with digital assets, because, when we look at the sort of the people that are really underserved and that are entrepreneurs, if I think of all the Mokala women, they're women, right?
Yeah.
And who better are they going to listen to than another woman,
right,
who's, in that space, and they can, trust and look to and say, oh, I know that woman. She, I believe in what she's building, and I can talk to her on a level, there's that ease that they would have. So I think it's something that needs to sort of be pushed a lot more. But I don't think we're in a bad place.
We can do better.
But we can, of course, we can always do better. But I think generally women are underrepresented. So that's
hopefully
something.
we'll see a better representation of women in the space, and as we keep on churning out new technologies.
Yes.
I'm just going to pick your mind on this quickly.
Sure.
All right. Innovation and regulation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What should lead?
Wow. That's God. It's a difficult one.
You can speak to that in terms of market adoption, because of course before users are onboarded, right, they require a safety net.
Yeah.
Right, that risks, because we Africans, majority, we could say that we are risk averse.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So regulation needs to provide that safety net.
Yes.
Innovation is also always, increasing at a rapid speed.
It is rapid. And I think what is key is just to work with the regulators. I think what would actually help regulators is real-time reporting. I know that might be resource intensive and, capital intensive.
We should provide that.
Well, this is the question. I mean,
are the regulators willing to put enough money into getting that?
I think this is where the intersection comes, where we have to work directly with the regulators in our platforms, being able to provide that real-time reporting and having dashboards that can enable it for the regulators to see, so that there is continuous regulation. So it's not just retrospective in the sense of, oh, this happened 6 months ago, slap on the wrist. I think it needs to be continuous. I think it needs to be ongoing. And even when you look at some of the big players in fintech today, Google, Meta, the innovation is moving quicker than the regulations. The regulators are always playing catch up. because the products are so innovative, and for the regulators to even get into it and understand it, the companies that are building these products need to be transparent.
Yeah.
But of course, sometimes they're building products that, the regulators may not like, and it will come with punitive repercussions. So there needs to be more of I think, a complementary relationship with the regulators, with digital assets. Of course, the innovation will always move ahead of the regulation, but there needs to be some sort of steps where there's more of a collaborative effort that goes into it in the digital asset space. And I think it's possible. I think with education.
You think it's possible?
Yeah, I think it's possible with education, because a lot of the regulators are also learning. We're all learning, to be honest, if we're being honest with ourselves. No one is a blockchain guru. Yeah, I mean, there are obviously a lot of software engineers, but even still, when we look on the continent and you're looking for software developers within blockchain, it's very difficult.
Very rare to find.
Yeah, and those who work with the bigger exchanges internationally, they've been trained up, they've worked there for a few years. So we're all learning. It's not gonna, it's no one has this crystal ball of, all the knowledge. So I do think there needs to be an effort to work hand in hand, and I guess not have punitive fines slapped on startups that are perhaps not operating within the framework and things like that. I think that also needs to be looked at. Of course, we want to make sure that people feel safe and trust that what they're investing in, or the platforms, the exchanges that they're using, are safe, because the regulators have implemented guardrails.
Yeah.
But also there needs to be a balance, because we're all learning. We're all trying to solve for at least in Africa, we're solving for very fundamental problems and issues. So the use case for digital assets, stablecoins, it's a no-brainer. The West are a little bit far ahead in terms of,
Are we playing
money, liquidity. I think
we might run past them.
No, I think we will. I mean, if you look at Momo, that's revolutionary.
Yeah.
They have no idea what mobile money is, and they probably never will.
That's true.
Yeah. Because we face different problems.
Yeah.
And I think we need to use that to our advantage. So I think, especially from a digital assets perspective, there's an opportunity for us to get ahead of the curve, stand at the forefront, and lead the charge. I think countries need to be a bit more proactive in thinking about how to regulate the space and work quickly in terms of implementing the regulations. And yes, it's all resource intensive. So I think we also need to be realistic about how quickly it can happen.
Right. Thank you so much for that. I think I want to piggyback a little bit. You spoke about safety.
Yes.
All right. I'm just going to get that back to adoption. So I'm a new user. I want to maybe use a platform, or exchange, or whatever it is with digital assets.
Yeah.
How am I able to tell a platform is legit? What am I supposed to look out for to be able to tell that this is a legitimate platform I can trust to transact business?
I think that will come down to the central banks having a registry or a list of companies that they've licensed.
Right.
I think that would be the first
steps
point for anyone.
We don't see the licenses happening quickly.
Yes, I agree. So it is difficult and it's tricky, but I think once the regulators get to the point where they are able to license people, they will also issue a list of registered companies which have gone through rigorous due diligence. So then, the public at large can trust that those firms are compliant and safe to use. From the perspective of an exchange safeguarding the users as well, on our platform, and I'm guessing it's similar to other platforms as well, but we have a tiered system of KYC. So if you're coming in as a basic user, with the Financial Action Task Force, there is a travel rule which has been implemented. So now when you sign up to an exchange, we have to KYC you. We need to know who you are. We need to know your name. So you will provide those basic details. So it would be your Ghana card, your phone number, your address, things like that. And that will allow you to trade at a very basic level. Let's say $500. Okay. So there'll be a limit. So you can't go over that limit. And then if you want to trade above that, then there'll be a second layer of due diligence and KYC that we do. So maybe you have to show proof of funds. There'll be some other things that we may look at. And then, it's tiered. So at the highest level, if you wanted to trade futures or trade tens of thousands of dollars, there'll be even more rigorous due diligence and KYC that we'll have to do.
Right.
And that you have to provide the paperwork in order to be granted that level of access to the platform.
Interesting. I think that provides clear focus.
Yes.
For new users.
Yes.
And then maybe expands. So also I think they need to educate themselves even much more.
Yes.
With the platforms.
Yes. And I think for us,
just the climate change issues when we start.
Yes, of course. There's so many implications. But we have solar energy, which is free. So, there's so many things.
Got to man.
Exactly. So there's so many things in so many ways. Of course, we need to have the right thought leadership to lead all of these charges. And I think we do. We have the brains.
But if we don't
the continent
now, we are seeing them emerge.
Yeah.
In the right spaces.
Yes. There are loads of people who are passionate about digital assets and the space in general. So I think we should really give those people a chance. Summits like this help gather people, bring people together. I'm very excited about what the future holds. In 10 years' time, it's super hard to predict what the landscape will look like.
Yeah.
But I am hopeful that it'll be full of women.
Do you have any last words for the everyday African audiences?
I would say our freedom and our sovereignty and the power that lies within us is all in our hands. And we should be at the forefront, seize the opportunity, just be proud that we have the resources and we can lead the charge, and we should. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Mimi, for sharing such amazing insights.
Thank you.
Your leadership and your thought processes are quite... I love them. I love every key insight you shared. It does resonate with me. And probably... I'm not a digital asset person yet. I'm probably going to get on that bandwagon.
Yes.
And maybe,
but do your research.
I'm going to, yes. So this is not, how do you guys say this is not financial advice, right?
Yes, no financial
advice here. Thank you. You're joining us. You're still watching the Africa Discourse channel, your gateway to conversation shaping the future of Africa. And I've been on a chat with Mimi Kufuor, who's the Ghana lead.
Country manager
for KoinKoin.
Ghana.
KoinKoin Ghana.
Yes.
If you know KoinKoin, if you're Nigerian, you know Madam KoinKoin, so you should be able to relate to the story. This is where we wrap it up for now. We'll be back with more exciting episodes, more exciting stories that are shaping the future of Africa. Do have to subscribe, join us, and how do we find KoinKoin?
It's on LinkedIn. It's online. KoinKoin.
KoinKoin. Please.
Yes.
No financial advices, by the way. Thank you very much. Chat soon. See you on the next episode. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, man.